Hi, everyone. Happy to have you here today in this wonderful day. I hope everyone can hear me and um, and we're good to go. Yes. So if you can hear me and everything is all right, just let me know. Yes, I can hear you, and we're good to go. Good morning to some of you who it's morning, and good afternoon or good evening to some of you who is other than that. So great, wonderful. Thank you. Well, welcome to this wonderful day here where I live in Laredo, Texas. The weather has changed dramatically, so it's gone from like 90 to 60, and now it's overcast and rainy, and it's kind of like fun. It feels like fall is coming in, and it's always for me an exciting time of the year. This is my favorite time of the year. So again, welcome to today's webinar that's about the subject of workspace or workplace. It's a topic that we've always in Silva have worked with. It's something that has always come around, and my father was always very, very much, I guess, really enjoyed the whole topic because if we really think about it, all of Silva is about the subjective experience and how the subjective experience influences and can make better the objective or physical experience that you're having. So if you want to have a wonderful physical reality, it's going to start in the subjective reality. And why do we say that? It's because everything comes from what you think, believe, your fears, your emotions, your subjective energies, your vibrations. I mean, all of these things that you can't see, hear, taste, touch, or smell, your images, all of these things are part of the subjective world. But that has to be in good order and good flow in order to allow the external experience, your physical experience, which is a reflection of your subjective world or subjective experience to flow smoothly. If you're very negative in thinking, well, your outer world is probably going to be negative in many ways. If you have low expectations about what's going to come your way, well, that's probably going to be a reality because that's what you believe. You're going to attract what you believe and expect to happen. And so we've talked about this time and time and time again. And I think one of the things that we always need to remember when it comes to Silva is that it's I'm not saying that never does happen overnight, but typically it is a lifestyle that you need to keep practicing on, keep doing because and keep reinforcing so that it becomes second nature to you. So if thinking positively all the time is not second nature to you, then keep at it. Keep practicing speaking and thinking positively. If you're not getting everything that you want in life or better than that, then start looking at what are the beliefs that you hold to be true about those things that you want and don't have, and keep practicing that, making it true for you. Keep practicing on that until really it becomes second nature, and you do believe those things because you're seeing how your inner changes are influencing your outer experience. So again, yes, it's going to be a topic that involves your whole subjective experience, and it's more focused on business or finances or your work situation, and improving on that. Every time we went to seminars, no matter where we were in the world, and no matter what religion or culture or I mean, this didn't matter. People always asked they would always ask, no matter what, how can I use Silva to make more money? Or how can I use Silva to improve my business? And my father always would say, use your subjective dimension, go into your level, go into your laboratory. And if you are a true practitioner or a full practitioner of the Silva teachings, you know what I'm talking about. You know that the laboratory is that inner space, your inner sanctuary where you can go to that you create, that's in the creative dimension. And you create this workspace, a laboratory for you to use to solve problems. Now, in your laboratory, you're free to do all kinds of things. And how we create the laboratory is very simple. There's nothing complicated to that. But how you create it is that you go into your alpha dimension, and then that alpha, you make you go through a countdown from 10 to 1 to attune yourself to the creative dimension where you're going to create a workspace or a laboratory that will help you to do problem solving. So, attunement or countdown for attunements are very unique, I think. I like to use them in many, many areas, and I'll explain other ways I utilize them. But it simply is to tell yourself, I'm going to count from 10 to 1 so that I can attune myself into the creative dimension. That's all you have to tell yourself. But you can also say, I'm going to count from 10 to 1 so I can attune myself to my child who's having problems right now, or to my spouse who I really want to have a heart to heart talk with. Or I can count from 10 to 1 to attune to a specific or special person that has the information I need to solve this problem that I have in mind. And once you state the purpose for the countdown at level, at alpha, then you count slowly 10, 9, 8, and you feel yourself, experience yourself, sense yourself as if you're almost honing in on that dimension. So that when you say 1, maybe you imagine like the scene opening up, or doors opening up, or your mind just opening up to now be in sync, or vibrating or resonating with that specific person or dimension that you want to attune to. I hope that makes sense. And if it doesn't, please ask me. You know that you have little chats area towards the side of your screen, or your viewing area. You can always ask me a question there if it's not clear. So once you attune to the creative dimension, you start to create your laboratory, what we do in Silva. So we call it going to your laboratory. But it is a workplace or a workspace. In the laboratory, we have everything that we need, all kinds of tools, instruments, equipment, anything that you need so that you can solve problems more easily, and you can do healings more readily, or so you can do whatever you need to do there to make something better. So it's problem solving. You can have medications and equipment, or you can have a desk to work on, a supercomputer to get information, a mental screen, a clock. You can have a clock there to give you a sense of time. You can do anything you want. You can have a special door to invite guests into your laboratory to have chats with them. And I liked that concept because when my father passed away back in the late 90s, I was traveling and I didn't get to chat with him or sit with him as he was making his transition. And there was a lot of things that I wanted to say to him before he left, the physical world. And I felt like I hadn't had that closure with him. So I went into my meditation, and then I counted 10 to 1 to enter my laboratory. And from the doorway, I asked him to come and pay me a visit. So he came in. I imagined him standing in front of me, and then I had some chairs, like a little sitting area where we both sat down, and we started talking. Mind you, it's imaginary, it's in my mind. But we had wonderful conversation. I told him what I wanted to say that I didn't get to tell him before he left before he made his transition, and it brought a closure to the whole my whole experience with him in that way in the physical world. But the interesting thing is that a lot of things happen between myself, let's say with me working with Silva, or family, or business, or whatever it might be. But there were times I wasn't sure, how do I handle the situation? So I would bring him to my laboratory, invite him to come over, and I would ask him, I've got this challenge right now. I'm not quite sure how to do this. Excuse me. And so he would tell me, well, I would just allow myself to open myself to him giving me ideas or instructions or solutions. Sometimes I could hear in my mind his voice perfectly, the way I remember it. Other times it's just thoughts that flowed into my mind. And other times I had feelings because I'm very visual, auditory, and kinesthetic. I'm mostly kinesthetic and then visual. And so, but I also am very good for hearing the voices or the conversations in my mind. So I often, would literally get good information from him that I would apply to solve those challenges and make things better. So up to this day now he's been gone over 25 years, or about close to 25 years. To this day, I still use that technique to bring him into my laboratory so I can ask him ideas about the Silva teachings, or maybe new techniques or new approaches, or what do you have in mind as to what he wanted to offer the world once he had to put Silva out. And this is an ongoing conversation that I have with him quite often. And I find that to be very valuable. But in that same token, my father would say, this is what you do when you have a business problem. Invite someone that you know is an expert in your field, and invite them into your laboratory and ask them questions. Open yourself up to what they would tell you, had if that was you, for example. I mean, if that was them, what would they do if they had that challenge? How would they solve it? And let them tell you. And it's a very effective tool, a very creative tool, but it's also a very effective tool that really truly provides direction, instructions, and solutions and ideas, creative ideas, to helping or to grow your business, and to apply those ideas is a must on your behalf. Once you get a solution or direction or idea or something, you must apply it, because then what's the point of you doing this? Why would you go out and do this technique and then disrespect the process and not follow through? So you need to trust in yourself and in the process and follow through with what you're getting. Otherwise, it's not going to be there for you in the same way as when you follow through and you know it works. And then you trust in the process and you trust in your inner guidance. So I think it's really important that you always, always, always follow through. And and it doesn't matter what field you're in. That's an easy thing to do for you to attract people into your workspace, which is your laboratory or your workspace, your inner sanctuary that you create yourself, and invite people to come over and have discussions with them, and they can help you along the way. It's not a new concept. It's been around for a long, long time. I remember reading about the board of directors. I think it was in Think and Grow Rich, the book Think and Grow Rich, and in that book, the suggestions made about creating a board of directors, not even a person, but a whole board of directors of people that they could be alive or they could be already passed. It doesn't matter, because you're imagining a copy of them in your subjective workspace. And this board of directors is filled with people that you believe are geniuses in your field, or who have done great things in the past, or who are doing great things in the world. And they're like the movers and shakers in your business or whatever it might be. And you bring them into an imaginary area. I mean, you can start looking up photographs of them, you can start researching them objectively, physically, but then subjectively, when you're in your laboratory or in your workspace, then you imagine them to be there, and you have them sit around like a board of directors and ask them questions and challenge them, and or share your challenges with them. And now you have a board of like, 5, 6 people or more if you want, that can help you to brainstorm ideas, to come up with creative options or whatever it might be. And it's a really wonderful tool that many people have used. In a way, that's kind of what was behind the counselors that we have, or that we create in Silva when we create our laboratory. A part of creating your laboratory or your workspace in Silva is that you also create two people, a male and a female, a male to represent all male energy, a female to represent all female energy, basically. And you invite them into your workspace, and they're always there to counsel you, to guide you, to give you ideas and solutions and things of that nature. So the counselors kind of came from that. And it's like I said, it's not a new idea at all. It's been around for many years, decades, maybe even hundreds of years, really, because the practice is an old practice. But with Silva, my father really brought it into the limelight. And in the book Think and Grow Rich, that really gave it a lot of credibility as well. And people have been utilizing it for many years very effectively. So it's one of those things that you can always use very effectively yourself, and be able to solve a lot of problems by doing that. For me, that's one of the most valuable tools that I have when it comes to um, utilizing subjective tools or the subjective dimension to be able to work specifically for business. But it's not always only just for business. Sometimes it has to do with a client or a customer. I remember talking to a couple of real estate people, and one of them, they was out of a company called Flair Agency in Oklahoma. This was many years back, and in Flair Agency there was this one really really good salesperson, and he always did the best. He had the best sales always. And one day a woman came in, Judy came in to apply, and she got the job as another salesperson in this real estate company, and she totally beat out this other guy in sales. I mean, she really like outsold him by far. The difference between the two, it seems, was that she had special tools. She had a cutting edge technology that he didn't have. And that cutting edge technology was Silva. She had taken the Silva method years back, and before she became a real estate agent, she always wanted to have money and be wealthy and thrive. And so she first started off being a very very pretty young woman, in exercise and working out and things of that nature, and did very well there. But that wasn't good enough for her. Then she became like the department heads, and then she ran these different kinds of exercise organizations. But still, that wasn't enough for her. When she took the Silva method, she's have a little bit of allergies right now. I don't know why. The weather changing, maybe, but that could be a belief. As after she took the Silva method, she found that it opened a whole new world for her, especially the time when she began to go towards the end of the Silva intuition training, where you work cases. Now, those of you who are familiar, very familiar with Silva, know that we can work health cases or cases of any kind, even business cases or pet cases, or even with your plants, doesn't matter. And a case basically is when you have someone who has a health challenge, and you're able to go into your laboratory or workspace, and then you tune to that person. And when you attune to that person by just simply having their name and their age and their gender, you scan their body with your mind or with your sensing, with your hands, and you sense or visualize or imagine three areas of attraction. Now, once you have those three areas of attraction, be it maybe the head or the chest area or a leg, then you go through those three areas and feel or sense or get be more attracted to which is the one that attracts you the most. When you select that one area that attracts you the most, you amplify the area. Remember our finger snapping mechanism? The right snaps to enlarge, the left snaps to decrease. So you use the finger snapping to get a bigger view of the area so that you can scan and kind of sense what may be wrong with that person. So as you're speaking and sensing, because you can always talk when you're level, there's a person working with you who takes notes and writes down everything you say, because sometimes once you open your eyes, you might forget what you have said, or you might not notice where you position your hands, because they can be very telling as to what you're experiencing in this dimension. So once it's all the reading or the sensing is done, then you compare notes, and typically the person who gives you the name and of the person and the age and where they live knows that person, knows what's wrong with them, so that way you can make points of reference with your accuracy in sensing information. And the concept is that once you sense a problem, you have the power to correct that problem. So then the second part of it is to send correction or healing energy, or to imagine the person fine and perfect health and that kind of thing. And so those are case working. Well, when Linda came into doing case working, she was amazed as to the whole idea that she could even sense information that way. And it was a mind-blowing experience. It was a paradigm shift for her. And she really was like, oh my God, this is amazing. Think of the possibilities. Now, Linda was thinking of possibilities in making money and in business. Nothing wrong with that. Okay. So she started to work a lot of cases. And the more cases you work, the more attuned you are to your intuition and your sensing abilities, especially when it comes to sensing intentions of others or the thinking processes of others, or opportunities that may come your way. You just become more sensitive to all those things as they are happening at the moment. So Linda decided she was going to work a lot of cases. So she practiced case working to the point that she became very, very good at it and was very confident in her sensing abilities. So when she goes to this agency called Flair Agency, which I don't think it exists anymore, goes back a few years, um, she applies what she learned in Silva to sales. And what she does in her sales was that she was communicating with customers and sensing what customers needed as far as homes were concerned. If they were people who love to cook, well, naturally, Linda, if she sensed that or knew that, she was going to find them homes that had great kitchen. If there were more sporty people, then she was maybe going to find a home that was very open for sports and enjoyment of sports or swimming or tennis or whatever. She always focused on selling big homes because they brought in the most money. And that's a fact, right? Commissions are bigger for bigger sales. So Linda would not only use her sensing abilities, she would also to see what they wanted as the home was concerned. She also had a sense as to how much money they were able and capable of spending on a home. And they say, well, we have a margin of, let's say, 500,000, 600,000 for a home. She said, I really knew they had a market for 800,000 to a million. So I already knew what to offer them that was well within their financial reach. And she would do that. So people always, he said, my main goal was I would always make sure that I could match the home to the buyer because I knew what they wanted and what they needed. And I was providing the solution to their needs, their answer to their needs. And people were very happy with her work. Linda did other things too that was very special that she also learned in Silva, which was about broadcasting. The broadcasting techniques we've talked about them before, but we hadn't talked about them as to how they pertain to sales. Linda would literally use broadcasting techniques to reach her customer base and show and tell them this is the house for you. I know you want this house. It's a great house. This is where it's located. But she would also tell them how to reach her in the magazine of this month. You can find them in all the little grocery stores and what have you, the real estate magazines. You'll find it. I'm always wearing a red flower on my outfit. You can always find me no matter what. I'm easy to find. And we're having an open house, this date and whatever. So she would advertise while she was at level, broadcast this information to the potential buyers that were really, really wanted to buy that house she was going to be showcasing at an open house. The interesting thing was that Mike, who's the other guy, who was always amazed as to how much Linda sold. He would say that every time they had an open house, they there was a line of people waiting to talk to Linda. And they would all tell him, we can help you. We're here to help you just as well. Going, oh, no, no, I want to talk to her. And they would wait in line just to talk to her. And Mike kept observing her and saying, there's something different about what she's doing. And I'm not sure what it is. So what Mike did was then he kept asking her, what are you doing that's different? And she goes, oh, no, I'm not doing anything different. I'm just calling a lot more people, or I'm following up on my sales calls, and on and on and on. She would go, or she would go on to tell him. And he said, no, there's something different here. He kept on observing her. And as he kept on observing her, he just couldn't put his finger on it just quite right. So one day he goes into her office, he closes the door, sits, moves the chair to the door, sits on the sofa chair, and he says, I'm not moving until you tell me what you're doing different. I'm staying right here. And he sat down, and that's what he did. So Linda said, fine, I'll tell you. And then she goes on to tell, well, many years ago, I took a class called the Silva Method, and she told him her history with Silva and how she got into the case working and how she could get into people's heads and into their brains. And she could even know what they were thinking by using the special helmet technique where she would put their head over her own, and she would think about what their thoughts were about the house and how much money they had. And she would sense all this information and take off the head. And she already knew what the people wanted. And by the time she got done, Mike was still sitting there, but he was like with his mouth wide open. And the next thing he asked was, where can I take the next Silva class? Because of course it sounded so fantastic. So she goes along to tell him, well, here's the next class coming up. He goes and takes a class. He starts applying all the techniques and he begins to increase his sales because he's reaching more customers, satisfying their needs, and making sure that they're happy customers to the point that they refer more clients to him. And they became such a good team that they would work cases, but house cases every morning before going out to work, before getting to work. They would get together, work their house cases, go into a meditation. She would help him, he would help her. And I literally had a diagram of the house on paper that they were wanting to sell, or houses. And they would scan the house to sense if there was anything wrong that they had to fix, that they needed to make sure was fixed before clients went in, and the inspectors went in, and all that kind of stuff. And they often came up with troubled areas that they were able to repair, plumbing or electricity or whatever, before clients actually sent the inspectors. They also would scan the house to see how to improve the curb appeal so that the house would sell faster. What would they have to change inside the house and outside the house? They would do also while case working, what banker to go to so that they can lock in the right points at the right time to get a better rate for the clients, and give them a better make them a better deal. And they just would go on and on and on. I mean, I'm in real estate, but I remember these stories from them, and they would sell so many houses that they were quite a team, that eventually the owner of the business had the whole company go and take Silva, and it was one of the most profitable businesses of the time. And I think that the owner sold it for quite a good profit at that time. But it just brings in this amazing possibility to give any person in business or in sales, or who has a service to offer, a cutting edge. When you have the ability to connect person to person, or you with a customer base at the right time, while at the subjectively, so that you can attract them more towards you and the service that you're providing them to satisfy a need for them. And it's really always very important that we always want to make sure that we satisfy a need for them. Let me see. Oh, where can you purchase? I think you can actually purchase the Silva. Looking at questions here. The Silva Method book in English, going them on Amazon. I think they still exist in Amazon. So um, I think attempt going to the Amazon and see what you find there. And if not, let us know, and maybe we can find a copy somewhere. Because I don't keep inventory of any products at all. So we only have links to products, and we, as you know, we always sell our products in link forms. We don't have physical products, and but we can do our best to find one for you if you can't find one on Amazon. And hi, Epi from Greece. It's so good to have to see you here as well. Okay, but let's go back to what we're talking about with Judy and Mike. Eventually, one of the favorite techniques that they did utilize a lot was the helmet technique, because that's also a subjective tool that people always get, or they like to utilize, because it gives them a sense to experience life from that person's perspective. So it's a very simple tool where if you have a client or a customer that you want to talk to, and you want to know more of what do they need, what are they looking for, then imagine them to be standing in front of you, and then grab them by the head, put your hands on either side of the head, and remove their head as if it was a helmet, turn it around and slip it onto your own like a helmet, so that you can see. Excuse me. Talking too much. Sorry about that. My throat got very dry. It's, I got all red. So, anyways, but that's really a great technique that we can utilize to sense a person's thoughts, a person's fears, feelings, a person's financial state, their ability to um, to be able to purchase something, what exactly they need to purchase, how much money do they have, what are their concerns. I mean, all these kinds of things you can sense by putting their head over your own and seeing and hearing and thinking and feeling as if you were them. It's a great tool not only for customers and clients, but it's a great tool, excuse me, if you want to have a sense of another person's thinking or where they are financially, emotionally, intellectually, whatever it might be. And especially when it's someone who you care for, someone who you love, your child, your spouse, a friend, someone who you're concerned about, whatever it might be. Okay. Hello from Israel, yay! And so again, these are subjective tools that you can really apply in a subjective dimension, and especially in your subjective workspace or laboratory. What I love about the subjective workspace is that it really allows freedom for your thoughts to flow in the direction of work or career or business or increasing sales or reaching more customers or whatever it might be. In what we aim to do basically with the broadcast techniques in this approach, which we utilize a lot in Silva, was to be able to connect with a larger group of people in subjectively. And basically, it takes into consideration the attunement process of attuning from 10 to 1 to reach your customers. But it also takes something that's really interesting that we do that's coming up in a program that we call subjective persuasion for customers, which basically has to do that once you go into your level, ideally, not necessarily has to be, but ideally is that as you enter your meditation at nighttime, you program yourself by simply saying this: to wake up when your customers are most receptive for programming. So basically, what you do is that you say, I'm going to awaken when most of my customers are more receptive for programming. And just say that statement. Now, the concept behind this is that there could be many times that your customers are very receptive for some kind of subjective communication or one-on-one with them or a message from you subjectively, but it appears to be most effective when you're doing it throughout the night because like it's likely that they too are asleep, and it's likely that you happen to be on maybe same time zones. And if that is the case, then you are going to be pretty much reaching them when maybe they're at the most receptive state, when maybe they're in their dream state or they're in their REM frequency, which is also the dream state, or they're maybe in alpha going into theta as they're going to sleep, whatever it might be, because we cycle all night long from delta to theta to alpha REM, and then back down to theta to delta. And then when we keep cycling in that way, our frequency of brain keeps cycling the whole night long. And they call them dream sleep cycles. So when you tell yourself, I'm going to awaken when the majority of my customers are most receptive for programming, people who want my product or my services, then I will awaken at that time. And you go to sleep from level 1. You go to sleep after saying that. So once you enter sleep, chances are you're going to awaken sometime during the night. It could be that it's not till the morning. Most people will wake up sometime during the night. When you wake up, remember why you're waking up, because sometimes we wake up, we fluff up our pillow, turn around, go back to sleep. But when you do this programming, remember why you woke up. So either sit up a little bit on on your bed, or sit at the side of your bed, whatever you have to do, so that you don't go right back into sleep. And once you do that, go back into your meditation, into alpha, and you tell yourself, this is the time that my customers are most receptive for programming. And so I'm going to count from 10 to 1 to better attune to them. And you start counting 10, 9, 8, 7. And when you reach 1, imagine as if all your customers are there, those people who could use and need or your product or your service. Then talk to them. Tell them about yourself. Tell them about where you are. Tell them about what you do, what you have, the product or service. Tell them about how much you believe in it, the quality of your service, your professionalism, your follow through with them, that you really want them to be happy, and that you want them to be satisfied with the product and what the product will do to facilitate their life or make their life better. Talk to them, become their friend, become their whatever it is that you need to do. But also make it easy for them to find you. Weather did change, huh? Tell them where you work, your place of business. You might even want your place of business to stand out with a special sign, the color of the door, something that you can, tell them, guide them to. When you see this office space or this home or this place with a red door or whatever it might be, that's my place, or with a special sign, that's where you can find me. If you have a special showing, like a house showing, or you put in an ad in the newspaper, magazine, television, or radio, whatever it might be, direct them to listen to that or go look at that, because that's how they can find you some more. So the main thing is to repeat over and over who you are, where you work or where your place of business is, and how to find you, and especially how much you believe in your product and service and the quality of your product and service, and truly be the professional to be able to deliver exactly what you're pitching to them. Basically, you can't fool anybody at this dimension, and even if you wanted to or try to, you really can't fool people in this at this dimension. So if you don't believe in what you're doing, then chances are it's not going to do you much good. Uh, it's like you're not going to say, "Oh, I'm going to wake up at a certain time so I can make sure I can go and rip off people." It's not going to work that way. It only works if you really have the intention to help people better their lives and really provide a solution that for them, or something to make their lives better. So become very familiar with your product, for one. Become very familiar with all that your product can do. Become very proud of what you're selling, and how you feel about what your service is, or how good you feel about the product that you represent. Be the best professional, that salesperson for your product or representative for your product. All of these things are really important to aspects about being a great salesperson, or increasing your business or your customer base. And the subjective dimension can only help you in achieving that outcome. Let me look at some questions here. I work where I get surveyed. What is the process that will help me get all excellence on my surveys? The process is for you to be an excellent uh, employee. I mean, what else can I say? I mean, excellence is excellence, and it's not perfection. Everybody can achieve excellence, but you're going to show up on time. You're going to deliver your 100 plus. You're going to follow up on what you're asked to do. In fact, you're going to go over and beyond what you're asked to do. I mean, you're always going to be there, and you're always going to learn more about your business. You're always going to become more skillful, more effective, more professional, more everything. I mean, how else do you expect to get excellence if you don't perform with excellence? That's one thing. We always want great customers, and we want repeat customers. But how can we get repeat customers and great customers if we're not the great provider? If we're not excellent at providing, if we're not there for them? I think it's one of the things that we find very important, Silva, and mind you, or us here, and like Irina and myself working with LSQ, is that we're basically two people here representing a huge organization, and I mean, we have a life. Right after this call, I have to take off out of town right after. I'm already packed and ready to go, and I have to drive 4 hours. It's happened before, I know, but that's part of it. And yet, no, even though I have grandchildren and children and a husband and two households and a business and I mean, just a lot of stuff going on in my life, we always make time to offer this service or this this service to you all because we feel it's really important that we are here for you. We do our best with products. We try to answer your questions and meet up with your expectations. We don't try. We do our best to do that because that's part of what we do. If you say, "Oh, can you give us a product on this?" We work to create that product so you can have it and make it, give you as much as we can because that's what's important for us in order for us to keep a good relationship going. Now, we can't be there every day in that same way, but we can promise you that we'll be here once a month for you. And if you need something more from us, we'll do our best to follow through in answering questions anyway. And it's really important that you know that we're here for you and that we're available for you. Even if you call me, some people even call me at home for that matter. And they're looking for a product that I don't have anymore, but I'm still looking for it all over the world. I'm calling people up. Hey, do you have another copy of this? Can you send me a copy of that? If they do, then give me some time and I'll find it. But my point is, excellence only comes if you're delivering excellence. So that's the best way I can tell you that you're going to be able to get great reports. My husband, I mean, he was always very much interested always in being the best provider in his business and transportation. He delivered an excellent job, and they always strived to make sure that they always got really great gradings or reports from the people who would come to inspect them. And they did almost always had great reporting and great results because they always aimed at satisfying their customers no matter what. So and that's really what I can tell you right there. Let me see. Thrift books is also a good resource for the Silva book. It's true. I've heard that many times before too. Um, there are people that don't believe in giving excellent scores. Well, it's possible that there's people that don't believe in giving excellent scores. So then talk to them. If you know who they are, or if you have an idea or suspicion who they are, you might want to talk to them before they come to rate you or your business, and talk to them subjectively and say, what's going on with you? Is it personal here? I mean, we really are working our best to deliver our best results, and we really appreciate that you take us, for face value and have a heart to heart conversation with this person. That's what the subjective workplace is all about. It's about bringing people into your subjective world and talking to them heart to heart without anything interfering or getting in your way. And I think you'll find that to be very surprising. The other thing about if you have that belief that there are people that don't believe in giving excellent scores, that means that you believe that they don't believe in giving excellent scores. Then your beliefs are going to create an expectation. Expectation and beliefs are the same. So that the expectation can be positive or negative. If you expect that they're not going to get delivered, then that's what you're going to get. And if you believe that they're going to deliver, then that's more likely what you're going to get. So I say in the past, I used to believe these people were didn't believe in giving excellent scores, but now I think they've had a change of heart. Now they can see the quality of work that we do, the workspace that we have here, the physical workspace, and this time I expect them to give us a really excellent score. So again, belief and expectation being a belief, will deliver results, but you've got to believe that they are capable of giving excellent scores. You might want to research them and see what's their rating in giving excellent scores in the past. If they never do that, you might want to bring that up as a question in general to that organization. Say, I've noticed that you never ever give excellent scores. I mean, these are the things, the questions that you can ask these people while you are at level in your subjective workspace. Bring them into your laboratory, to your workspace, and ask them, what's going on here? Is there any way that we can possibly work together with this? That's what I would do. because you can't control everybody. You can't control what they think, say, or do. You can only control what you think, say, and do. The rest of them, you can persuade them, talk to them, have a heart to heart with them, soul to soul conversation, whatever it might be, that may make a difference. And I believe it will make a difference. Let me see. Unfortunately, we don't have thrift. Okay, well, okay, maybe let me see how there might. I'm sure to find the Silva method book. I'm sure you'll find it, and I know again, Amazon may be a resource, but I think if you go on YouTube, you might find a resource, or just Google it and see where can I buy, the Silva method book. Let us know how that goes, and if anything at all, if we happen to have any extras, I mean, which I don't think I do, to tell you the truth. I think I've already given them all away. We'll let you know. Linda says, "Oh yes, I did see the Silva books in thrift stores, but I don't know if it was a legitimate site." Okay, all right. So there's plenty of that. Um, all right. Thanks for what you're doing, and that the Silva book is on Amazon. All right, great. So those are some of the questions here. I need to study to get my license of dentistry in Canada. How can I use this tool if I don't know who are the people who do the test? I think the main thing for you is to make sure that you feel you're confident for the test. Um, if there's a subjective aspect of the test that I'm not aware of, then it doesn't matter that you know the people or not. You just program yourself to wake up when those people who are going to be testing you, and if it's a subjective aspect about it, then of course that are going to be testing you are going to be open and fair and honest about the testing process. And you don't have to always know who they are, but just know that these are the people who are going to be testing or grading my test. And these, I'm going to wake up when the people who will be grading my test are more available or are most receptive for programming, and then talk to them, and then expect the outcome to be very positive in your behalf. Okay. So again, the subjective workspace is a place that you can go to where you can go into your internal experience in this imaginary space that you create that feels comfortable for you, and you can feel comfortable having ideas and thoughts of work. It's a workspace that you can use to invite people into your workspace, objective workspace, that you can ask questions to, ask for guidance, ask for ideas and solutions, have conversations with as well. It's where you can create your imaginary board of directors and brainstorm ideas as well. It's where you can program to awaken, where you can connect with customers or with people who are going to be important in you thriving in your business and making more of a profit, and having more success. It's where you can go to really build on your beliefs and expectations about how you're going to perform and how you're going to deliver. It's a place where you can connect with people's thoughts, feelings, emotions, and intentions by using perhaps the helmet technique. It's where you can also do a 10 to 1 countdowns to attune yourself to a specific person or a genius that may have the information that you need to solve problems and work on, and open yourself up to receive that information. So it's a quite a remarkable tool to have, and really one that sets you apart from almost everybody else that you may be working with. Let me see. Thank you. Wishing best health. Silva graduates from Pakistan. Thank you so much. And then Rocky says, I would genuinely appreciate all that you do and your family to do to help the world. The Silva method has changed my life, and I'm so excited for this next exercise. Yes, I'm so happy about that too. And Patty says, this is really great information for my new business. I appreciate all the details that you're offering. So appreciate your experience and wisdom. Thank you so much. Well, thank you so much for saying that, Patty. But ask me some questions. If you have any questions that I can help you with along these lines, I'm here to help. I'm here to offer more information if you want, or more details if you need. And we will have a product coming up soon that's about subjective persuasion for customers that has to work with the broadcasting techniques a lot more specifically. And it does have tasks and it does have certain assignments to do during the day. And it'll be a group of people. It lasts 30 days. It's a marathon. So you can have a good practice as to how to do this, very naturally. And that way it can become almost second nature for you. And we'll be practicing broadcasting techniques and we'll be guiding you with the meditations along the way and working on 10 different skills to build on to become more professional, to become more relaxed, to enjoy the process, to be more comfortable in sales and things of that nature, and attracting customers and satisfying their needs by being the person, by being the ideal representative of your product or service. I used to do a lot of calls at one time, kind of like sales calls, and talk to people and invite them to seminars or invite them to introductory lectures when we were doing a lot more of the live seminars. And it was always kind of nerve wracking when you call someone because you don't always know how they're going to respond. And that's one of the scariest things for people in sales, especially people who have to call other people to do sales by phone sales or visiting or cold sales or whatever. And I used to rehearse that, the mental rehearsal in my laboratory. I used to rehearse that all the time. I would imagine calling people up and having a very pleasant conversation with them, and I feeling very comfortable and confident, and just being able to follow through and being able to sign people up more frequently than not, and realizing too that yeah, there's a numbers game. Say they always say the more people you connect with and call or follow up with, the more sales you're going to make. But I found that I was connecting a lot more and with people after I did the subjective rehearsal, and I was having a lot more closings by doing those mental rehearsals, and it really helped me to develop my confidence as well. So I learned to be more skillful in my conversations as far as how to sell. The idea of coming to an introductory lecture or taking the Silva courses and what it would do for them. So I perfected that because I rehearsed it mentally all the time. So it was a great tool to work with as well. So that's when another one, mental rehearsals. That's again in your subjective workspace is awesome. Let me see. Where are we? Thank you. I have to go back to work. Okay, I'll watch the rest in the instant replay. You know that we always give this an instant replay. It's a valuable reminder of these tools. Love you to the moon and back. Oh, thanks, Linda. And then what do you do with annoying people at the workspace? You know what I do? I kind of remind myself always that they're allowed to be who they are. I can't control what they think and how they behave or what they do. I can't. So I just leave them alone, and I send a lot of acceptance and respect. That's they have every right to be who and how they are. But I usually will get something. For example, if I have like I do here, little Kleenex. See, I just, I think I'll just be happy today. That's what this one says. And if that's something like this that you might have, I'll energize it like I do with a glass of water in a sense. When you energize the water for health or whatever, which I should do soon, but I'll just energize this to get energized and radiate love and happiness and harmony. And I imagine always like just being like almost like a glow light that only radiates love and happiness and harmony. You might want to give it a pink color, a gold color, whatever color you want. And I always have it on my desk. And that way, it's not only a reminder for me to be, in harmony, to be loving, to be peaceful, to be happy, that it's also I feel a radiating of that same energy for the space around me and for anyone who comes in there. So I imagine those people, especially coming into my physical environment where I have already energized this, or maybe it's a weight, a paperweight, or a figurine, or it could be anything that you have there, your telephone for that matter, and just energize it so that it just radiates peace and harmony and love and happiness. And imagine it just goes out into your entire room where you work in your office, and that anybody who comes close to it would just kind of just feel that. And you also have to be a participant. You have to always have like a nice soft smile on your face. be calm, breathe deeply, release them, let them go, let them be who and how they are. They have the right to be that way. We can't control everything and everybody. So just know that it's not your business anyway to do that. And I think these are the kind of things and reminders that will help reinforce a certain attitude that is contagious in the workspace as well, in the physical workspace as well. Let me see. I have done Silva course in 16 and I manifested my dream job in health, but now Silva techniques are not working. Silva techniques always work. You're not working them. I mean, I don't want to put it harshly that way, but something about you shifted, something about your thinking shifted. And you need to, as you're growing and evolving, you may need to grow and evolve your attitudes, beliefs, and expectations about the tools and techniques that you have. They don't grow old. Positive thinking doesn't grow old. Positive beliefs don't grow old. Positive attitudes, they don't grow old. Positive meditating doesn't grow old. Praying doesn't grow old. I mean, these things remain divine and high and in high vibration, high energy. So if you're not doing them like you used to when you took it back in 2016, then you're not going to get the same results by just knowing that you did it one time, but you're not practicing them anymore. That's not enough. You need to continue to keep sharpening that the edge, so to speak, fine tuning the techniques and tools in your life. You need to continue to do this over and over and over again without letting them go. Because if you let them go and you stop utilizing them, they're not going to work for you. So if you revert to thinking negatively and expecting things, oh, they're not working for me, and that's what you believe, that's a negative belief. They used to work, but they don't work anymore. Something changed. The techniques didn't change. Something else is changing. And anytime we point that finger saying, oh, the techniques, were they used to work, they're really good, but now they don't work. Really, it's these three fingers pointing back at you. Something about you is not working the same way it was back then. Maybe it's the enthusiasm, maybe it's the excitement, maybe it's the camaraderie, maybe it's the people that you knew, like-minded people working together in a team, going to class together. And part of this 30-day marathon is that you're going to have like-minded people supporting one another, and you can see how they're doing, they can see how you're doing if you want that. You don't have to, but it's there. So just go back and just reassess it with an open mind, open heart, as to what changed, what shifted that caused the techniques for you to not be as effective or effective as they were back then. Something changed. The techniques didn't change. None of that changed. The concepts and tools didn't change. Something else changed. And it's not about the techniques. Okay. So just want to let you know that. All right. Let me see. How do I start Silva method? I listened to one of old audiobook on YouTube, but I didn't quite understand so many questions as what's the best first step to do. I really, a lot of people want to start off with our guidance and sometimes even mentoring, all that kind of stuff from base zero. And I really encourage people to at least do the Civil Life System audio program. If you can't take a live seminar where you might be, because it's not being offered as much after, especially the pandemic, then I would really, really highly recommend that the Civil Life System and Civil Intuition training are excellent courses. I mean, the Civil Life System is all of your basic information that will give you, and it's very, very, very complete. And you can re-listen to things over and over and over and over again. But really, if you listen to that and practice that, you literally have all the tools you need to make any change you want in life, so long as you practice it. One thing is that you hear it and understand it and know it. The other thing is you live it. And what we want from you guys is to live it as a lifestyle. You can modify it as you go to fit your needs, but you must live it as your lifestyle. And that's what the important thing is. So I would definitely say start with Silva Life System. Always. I mean, I would always recommend that. Lady Diaz is asking that is listening to alpha beats helpful. It's helpful when if you're doing your meditations. It helps to keep you kind of that light, wakeful alpha state. Because remember, alpha is not that it's not that real deep state. That's theta. Alpha is light, wakeful, a wakeful state. You can talk while you're at alpha. You can move around your hands. You can really express yourself just as I'm doing. And alpha is very easy to get to. It's a very light, wakeful state. and the alpha beats helps you to stay there. I personally like to use theta sounds or theta beats. And the theta beats, I like it because it helps me to deepen a little bit more while still staying at alpha. And if I want to, then I can just allow myself to deepen into theta by just listening to the theta beats. But they are both helpful. Alpha has many other applications besides just for meditation and for keeping you maybe in that alpha frequency. It's very light and wakeful. A lot of people use it for healing purposes, and they use it for basically just for not wavering away from alpha by staying more steady in the alpha frequency for 15 minutes consistently for health purposes or for good meditations. Let me see, coach. I am working on a new coach program and desire to have more clients. I've been practicing the Silva method, but not consistently. Well, thanks for being honest. I really appreciate that. I am on a time crunch for signups. A rapid way to fill my program, it's this 30-day marathon, coach. I mean, really, I think it's so if what you're doing already is not working, then I would recommend that you open yourself up to doing some of the broadcasting techniques that we're going to be talking about in the marathon. And because you'll be reaching out and building on your expectation of getting more clients as well, but reaching out and talking to them, at a subjective level. And I always find that that works very well. Thank you so much, Kershette. Love that. Love you. Thank you so much, Ludmila. Oh my God, it's already 12. I gotta go. Yeah, and discipline. Ludmila says discipline. That's very, very true. And how can I start some method from beginning in Greek? Well, you're lucky in Greece because you have some amazing instructors and director in Greece. Mariana Panayotis Mexakatos, I mean, they are amazing. They're dear friends of mine. I love them and they're great people. And I think, just call the center in Greece and I bet you'll get something there. Many blessings to you too, Janice. Are the Theta Beats? Can we find them in YouTube? You can probably find the Theta Beats in YouTube. And yeah, I think we do have them in our site as well. And then how can we help other people lead better lives if they want us to lead worse lives? If they want you to lead worse lives, it's up to you to allow them to become part of that to make you be part of that reality, but you can reject that. Remember that you can always accept or reject anything anyone says to you at any level of the mind. So who cares what they want for you? You can reject them. Put that imaginary bubble around you like a sphere that repels any negativity, and you just keep living your best life no matter what anybody says. And if those people are very, very toxic, really, I just think get rid of them. I don't know. I know it's not easy. Now, maybe a really harsh statement to say, but why would you want to be around someone who is so toxic? So either you be the example, be consistent until they change, and they'll change only because they see you being happy, and it's consistently you're consistent about it, but do not allow their intentions on you because if you allow them, it's you who's making you worse, not them. Okay. Let me see. How hope you think this is important to be in my birth language. I think it's. Do I think that it's important for the what you're listening to be in your birth language? I'm sure it helps because that's what you resonate the most with. But as long as you understand the language, you're okay. Because I mean, I'm always doing translations in my mind when I'm hearing something in another language that I'm not strong in, but kind of understand, and it still works for me. But I think as long as you understand the language, you'll be fine. No, I think I think the 30-day program. I don't think we even started advertising yet. So be on the lookout, and I'm sure you'll hear from it. And again, okay, Shannon and all of you, thank you, Laura. She says, and I'm just saying thank you to all of you. I'm sorry I had that cough uh, explosion right now. My throat got so dry. But anyways, all is better. I'm good. Things are great, and I wish you a wonderful, wonderful rest of your week. Okay, so have a wonderful rest of the day, rest of the evening, whatever it might be. And I look forward to seeing you in about 30 days. All right. Love you guys. See you soon. Okay. Practice, practice, and practice. All right. Love you.